Okay.
So what was your reaction to President Trump's comments about mail-in voting and possibly ending mail-in voting throughout the country?
Well, I had to just react and think that despite what Putin apparently whispered in his ear, it's really clear that mail-in elections are secure and accurate. Any instances of voter fraud are exceedingly rare. They've never affected the outcome of an election. And I think the president is pretty actively working to undermine our democracy. If he knew anything or cared anything about American people, he would know that mail in elections are the best way to protect the right to vote. I think that's especially true for people who live in rural parts of the state, for elderly people, or for people who work an hourly job. Uh, it works because it meets people right where they are, whether that's in their living room or around their kitchen table. So in Oregon, we're really clear. We believe in the Constitution. We follow the Constitution. We respect every citizen's right to hold politicians accountable. And I guess my other reaction was if the president wanted to do something useful, I think he should focus on the rising cost of living instead of trying to force people to lose hours of work in order to vote.
Got it. So is there a current lawsuit that Oregon has filed against the Trump administration, specifically regarding mail-in voting?
We are plaintiffs in a lawsuit with the state of Washington related to the president's previous executive order that related to a number of aspects around elections. And the main point of that and of any other executive order is that the Constitution, the United States Constitution, that this president, like all presidents, has sworn to uphold and defend and protect, is very clear in saying that states run elections. The federal government's role is through laws. Congress has to act. Executive orders have no place in the administration of elections. So if there is a future elected executive order, I can assure you and all Oregonians, I will use every power at my disposal to defend our right in Oregon to choose how we elect people and how we hold politicians accountable.
Okay, and is there an update on that lawsuit yet?
It is in process. My recollection, I haven't gotten an update too recently, but I believe it's being briefed, which means the parties are making their arguments to the court. I think the court has yet to receive those and weigh in. We can
Okay,
get more details for you if that's helpful.
that would be wonderful if you can.
Sure.
Um, and so, um, so do you feel like this is also, you mentioned it's kind of a sort of an attack on our democracy. Do you feel like it's also an attack on state rights in general?
Absolutely. I think what's clear, I've been on a tour of Oregon and I made a commitment to meet every county clerk in their county before the end of the year, and we've now visited 30 clerks. These are the heroes of democracy. These are the people who carry out the mechanics, who maintain voter rolls and tabulate ballots and make sure that what people want is accurately reflected in elections and across the board, no matter where I go in the state, no matter whether it's a large or small county, a county that is on the progressive end of things or super conservative. Every clerk recognizes that this does not affect the security of elections. It makes it harder for people to vote. Think about a mom who lives in some rural part of Lane County. Maybe she works like so many Oregonians, an hourly job. So she's got to fit voting into that busy schedule. She's got to drive maybe a long distance. She's got to pay for that gas. Maybe she's got to get a babysitter, all in order to stand in line to exercise a fundamental American right to vote. And I just think it is really clear. Just because you're busy or you can't afford it, you should not lose your right to vote.
Okay. So what's your message to Oregonians that are looking at this news and are maybe a little concerned about the administration's next steps? What safeguards are in place just to make sure that that mail-in voting will continue into the midterms and beyond?
The Constitution is a powerful document. It has lasted centuries, and we will defend it. We will use every tool at our disposal to do that. And Oregon has a record here. We've got 25 years. We were the first state in the country to move to mail-in voting because it's better, because it costs less, because it is more secure. We have paper ballots that are verified with signatures. There are election boards at county elections offices. These are people of different parties who look at ballots and look at the signature and look at the voter intent to make sure that they are accurately counted. This is the gold standard. We have the most secure, accurate, inclusive, honest elections in the country. And we're not going to give that up without a fight. Next year is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It's a funny word, the semi-quincentennial. We should not give up the rights that so many of our ancestors fought and died for. And we're not going to. Oregon will stand strong. We will make sure that Oregonians get to vote as we want to. Oregonians have been very clear about this too. There was a bill in the legislature last year that proposed a change that would give voters the chance to decide if they wanted to move away from mail-in voting. It set a record for the amount of testimony it received online. 12,000 people wrote into the legislature to say, no, I want to keep mail-in voting. So Oregonians are very clear, and we are very clear that we will defend their preference here.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on people that might bring up the motor voter incident where 1,600 non-immigrant, citizens, excuse me, were registered to vote mistakenly?
Yep.
Did any of those people mail in vote? And is that really cause for concern?
It's a totally separate issue, Tiffany. The question of voter registration is not the same as mail-in voting. What happened in that case was the result, by the way, of a government error. It's a problem, and we've taken a number of steps to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Added new checks and new procedures and controls and so on. But that happened when theoretically government was checking IDs. They do it very well, but that's different than mail-in voting. What we're talking about here in this case, we can certainly talk about the voter registration question. I got lots of thoughts and frustrations and ideas about how we're making that better. But that's a registration question. The question of mail-in voting is about convenience and accuracy of the votes being recorded. And we are really clear on both of those.
Okay, great. Anything else that you'd like to share that I haven't asked?
Thanks for asking. No, I think I would just restate what we started with, that there's people can say crazy things. Our president can listen to the president of Russia. It's unclear to me why we should be taking advice from another president. In fact, if we heard from Vladimir Putin that this is a good idea, that's a pretty good indication to me that it's a bad idea for Oregonians and for the United States. So we're going to be really clear. Our mail-in systems are accurate, safe. They are what Oregonians want. They're how we hold politicians accountable, and we will defend it.